We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is kind of absurd. I built it thinking it was just going to turn out to be a meme, but we actually went like 9-1 with it. I think it has like a 90% win rate right now, and it's kind of crazy. Before we talk about the deck, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons over at patreon.com/quarantinecapricorn. That's Yuckfoozy and our new patron Marlak. Thank you guys at the Brew Crew tier. And then of course our forever CPU savior Terrence Rohrbach. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for the support. I do appreciate it greatly. We just passed 1 million views. 1 million views on the YouTube account. 2024 is about to hit and we are full steam ahead. I've got tons planned for the channel, so thank you guys for sticking by me. This deck is called United Nations, and the idea here is we're going human tribal. We are pairing that with Roaming Throne, which is kind of my pet card lately, and we're trying to find the perfect tribe to use with it. And I think humans might be it, but we're using humans in a way that I haven't seen really anybody do. We're using a lot of different human cards that most people aren't sticking in their deck, but we're able to make it do some pretty crazy stuff. Before we talk about the deck, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We broke 4,000 subscribers, and like I said already in this video, we broke 1 million views, and we're just cranking, guys, and that's all because of you, and I do super appreciate the support, so thank you so much. Tell a friend, click the button, do the thing. Let's check out the deck. And don't forget to catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. Because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Let's break it down. We've been trying to find the best tribe to use with Roaming Throne, a 4-mana 4/4 with Ward 2. You get to choose a creature type when it enters the battlefield, and then any triggered abilities that come from a creature of that type trigger an additional time. This is already good if you get 2 Roaming Thrones on the field because they each count each other, and therefore the Ward 2 actually counts as a triggered ability, and if someone tries to target one Roaming Throne, the Ward 2 triggers, but if you have another Roaming Throne out, it triggers an additional time because of that. And that sort of synergy carries over into the rest of the deck. So we're using Roaming Throne with Human Tribal, but we're taking it one step further because we're able to use the lands that create mana for any tribe in order to kind of play 5-color humans. We've got 4 Secluded Courtyards and then 4 Cavern of Souls. Both can make a mana of any color for a specific creature type, this time naming human. And then also, all of our creatures that are not blue or white are legendary. So we can also run 4 Plaza of Heroes, and for all of our legendary creatures, this will make an additional mana of whatever color we need. And for our non-legendary creatures, it's only going to make colorless, and the only non-legendary humans we have in the deck are blue and white. So we have a whole bunch of blue-white lands to kind of balance it out. So everything together, because we're mostly running kind of like a mono-white / Azorius style deck, but just splashing into 5-color for all of the legendary humans, this assortment of lands lets us pretty much cast everything. So we're going to start at the bottom of the curve, and we're going to talk about why using Roaming Throne with 5-color humans in particular is kind of absurd and absolutely insane, because there are so many cards that get extra value that honestly have kind of flown under the radar in Standard without Roaming Throne, but now with Roaming Throne in the mix, they're absolute must includes. So obviously we have 4 Coppercoat Vanguards. 2-drop 2/2 is going to give all of our humans +1/+0 and ward 1. And again, that ward 1 will actually trigger twice, because when something tries to target one of our creatures with ward is actually a triggered ability. So when we have a roaming thrown out with the Coppercoat Vanguard, all of our human soldiers have ward 1, and then it triggers an additional time. So really they have to pay 2 extra mana to target something. We're also running 4 copies of Guardian of New Benalia. This card is absolutely gross. You will see in the games, specifically with Roaming Throne. It has Enlist. It's a 2/2 for 2. So when it swings, we get to tap and enlist another creature in order to add its power to Guardian of New Benalia's power when it's attacking. Guardian of New Benalia also gets to scry 2 whenever it enlists. So what happens when this swings is we enlist, we tap a creature, and the power we get from that creature actually triggers twice. So if we tap, say, a 2-power creature with this, we're actually going to get +2 and then +2 again and be a 6-power creature. If we tap a 4-power creature with this, we're going to get +4 and then +4 again and be a 10-power creature swinging in. But also, each of those counts as 2 separate triggers, and each of them will scry 2. So not only do we get to get double the power, we get to get double the scrying and actually scry 4 cards deep into our deck, which sets us up to get the absolute best possible cards out of the top 4 on our next draw, and really helps us just get so much more card value and card selection, more so than our opponent by a long shot, and really helps us take over the game. The fact that we can discard cards to give it indestructible and keep it around really helps it against like mono red and stuff like that. So the card is pretty decent without Roaming Throne. It's like almost good enough to make the cut for like mono white decks and stuff like that. But with Roaming Throne in the mix, it's so good. It's like way over the top, and it's nuts. And you'll see in the games. We also have 4 Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, because it's another legendary human, so it's an easy include in the deck, and it helps keep our board alive, and it makes it so it basically takes our opponent an extra turn in order to fire off certain removal spells to deal with our board state. So stalling out to a point where they can finally kill something, but now we have even more on the board, really just helps us go over the top. We're also running 1 Spellbook Vendor in the 2-drop slot. I don't think we want to make room for too many more 2-drops, but at least 1 Spellbook Vendor is really good because it's a 2/2 Vigilance. At the beginning of combat, we can pay 1 to put a Sorcerer Roll token onto a creature we control. But if we have Roaming Throne in play, we can actually do that twice, and we can pay 2 and put 2 Sorcerer Roll tokens, 1 on each creature, whichever creatures we want. And that is super good. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we have 4 Brutal Cathar, which is going to let us exile whatever we want. But if we have Roaming Throne in play, we get to exile 2 things with every Brutal Cathar, which is nice. We've also got 3 Extraction Specialists, which is going to be able to grab something that's a 2-drop out of our graveyard and bring it back into play. Really good to drop on turn 3 if our opponent has removal for our 2-drop. Just immediately get our thing back and add even more presence onto the field. But once we get Roaming Throne down, now that ability is triggering twice. We get 2 2-drops back from the graveyard into play. And sometimes those 2-drops themselves can also start to trigger the Roaming Throne. So the value you're getting out of the Roaming Throne is kind of exponential. We've also got 3 Kitesail Larcenist, and this is almost as good as Brutal Cathar. In fact, in some scenarios, I feel like it's better. We can jam the Kitesail Larcenist, 2/3 flying, ward 1 for 3. That ward 1 will really be ward 2 if we have a Roaming Throne down, and when it enters the battlefield, we get to turn one of their creatures into a treasure. We also get to turn one of our creatures into a treasure, and we have a number of creatures in this deck that make creature tokens that aren't really worth a ton to us, so being able to turn one of those into a creature and use it to ramp out an additional spell that maybe we otherwise wouldn't have been able to cast that turn can be really good. But then it gets even better with Roaming Throne, because when Kitesail Larcenist comes into play, we get to turn their 2 best creatures into treasures, and we get to turn maybe 2 of our tokens into treasures and immediately start to play more cards. So tons of value in Kitesail Larcenist. Honestly, starting to think it might be better than Brutal Cathar, although Brutal Cathar does occasionally get an extra trigger off of the day-night cycle. So I think using both in the same deck is pretty wild. We've also got one Adeline, because it can be a decent blocker with Vigilance that can also become a very high-powered attacker once the board state starts to go wide. But it's going to generate us a human token every turn. And if we have the Roaming Throne out, we're going to get 2 instead of 1, which is nice. One Jerren, because when it comes into play, we'll get a human token. But if we have Roaming Throne out, we'll get 2. And then it's got some extra silver lining value built in, where we can pay 2 to give a human lifelink until end of turn. If any of our non-token humans die, we get to make a human token. Some really cool value with Jerren. Anim Pakal is where it's at. 3 mana for a 1/2 legendary human soldier. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, you put a +1/+1 counter on Anim Pakal, and then make that many 1/1 gnomes that are tapped and attacking. What's great about this with Roaming Throne is we trigger Roaming Throne twice when we swing in. We put a counter on Anim Pakal and make, you know, however many gnomes off the first trigger, but then when the second trigger happens, we add an additional counter first and then make even more gnomes. So it really is exponential, the amount of value we can get out of Anim Pakal. It's not even just double, because we're doubling the counters, so it's double +1 creature tokens, which is kind of crazy, especially if this thing manages to stick around on the board. It gets really absurd. In a similar fashion, we have Torens, Fist of the Angels, 3 mana 2/2 with training, and whenever you cast a creature spell, you make a 1/1 human with training. That's going to trigger twice if we have a Roaming Throne in play, so we're going to get 2 tokens every time we play a creature spell, and then the training itself will trigger twice for each creature with training that attacks because of Roaming Throne. So there's just tons of value to be had there. Moving on to the 4-drop slot, we have 1 Thalia and the Gitrog monster, 4 mana, 4/4 first strike death touch. You get to play an additional land on each of your turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and whenever Thalia and the Gitrog monster attacks, you can sack a land or creature and then draw a card, and that's the part of the card that's going to be able to trigger multiple times with Roaming Throne. So we get to sack multiple creatures or lands, draw multiple cards. One of those lands, if we happen to draw into another land, can come down onto the field as a second land per turn. We can get a ton of value this way, especially paired with some of our creature token creators. We've also got 1 Inga and Esika, 4/4 for 4, gives all of our creatures vigilance and the ability to tap for a mana of any color, but you can only use that mana to cast a creature. Almost everything in the deck is a creature. In fact, I think everything is a creature. Even our removal is in the form of creatures, so this is perfect. But also the vigilance helps against, like, protection against the Wandering Emperor, and just being able to swing in with everything while also blocking or also tapping it for mana afterwards. And we also get to draw cards if we spend 3 or more mana that was made from creatures to cast a creature spell. And when that draw a card ability triggers, we'll actually get to draw 2 cards if Roaming Throne is in play. So even more value there. We've got 1 Ertai Resurrected, because it's even more removal. It can counter a spell or destroy something. If we have a Roaming Throne in play, we can wait until they cast a spell, we can counter that spell, and we can destroy something that's already down. So even more value to be had there. And then last but not least, in the 5-drop slot, which we are very rarely ever casting for 5. In fact, I don't think we ever cast it for 5. Knight-Errant of Eos. We've got 3 of these, 4/4 Convoke, but you get to look at the top 6 cards of your library and put 2 creature cards with mana value X or less from among them into your hand, where X is the number of creatures that convoked it. So even if you just convoke with like 2 or 3 creatures, you're able to get 2 creatures into your hand off the top 6, but if you have a Roaming Throne in play, you're able to get double the value and get a whopping 4 creatures into your hand off 1 Knight-Errant of Eos. And if we're going wide with a bunch of creature tokens and able to just tap all those to convoke this, we can leave all of our mana untapped so that we can still cast whatever we draw into off of Knight-Errant of Eos, which technically isn't considered drawing. So even if our opponent plays something like a Sheoldred or whatever, we're getting all those cards into our hand and not losing 8 life, which is pretty nutty. I honestly thought this deck was going to turn out to be kind of a meme when I first put it together, but it ended up being kind of insane. We won like 9 out of the 10 games that we played. We only lost 1 game, I think, and I just kept surprising myself with how good it did, and I'm absolutely going to keep iterating on this because this deck was absurd. It was super good. I can't believe it's got like a 90% win rate. It blows my mind, and there's definitely room to keep pushing this even further and keep evolving it, especially with a new set on the horizon in the form of Murders at Karlov Manor. So very excited to keep brewing and iterating on this. I definitely suggest, if you have the majority of the cards already, put this thing together, take it on the ladder. It is pretty wild. You'll see for yourself in the games, so let's check them out. This is very slow. We're gonna have to mulligan. This is better. We can keep this. Toss back a Roaming Throne. Cavern, Human. Hopefully we top deck a land, because then we can save the Mirrex for turn 3 with Adeline, which I think would be better. Well, we can't, but we will have the Shattered Sanctum, so it shouldn't matter too much. Thalia. Adeline's going to trigger every turn, so it's not really a waste to get it out before Roaming Throne, whereas Jerren, we are wasting a little bit of value if we play that before Roaming Throne. So, we're going to play out the Adeline first. I mean, I think we swing. If he's playing Thalia, then he shouldn't have too many non-creatures. So, if we lose our Thalia, it's not really that big a deal. Theoretically, of course. Now we just need a land for Roaming Throne. Alright, go for the throat. Skrelv. Hey, there we go. Roaming Throne is in play. Human. Now shit's about to get wild. We play Jerren. That gives us 4 creatures to play Knight-Errant of Eos and get double triggers. And we don't take the damage from Shieldred because we're technically not drawing. Human. Jerren. Actually, that's going to give us 5 creatures. Wow. You. 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 Double triggers on the Knight-Errant. We're gonna grab Larcenist and Vanguard. I want to make sure I have a 2-drop to drop this turn. And then we're gonna grab another, kind of like another Coppercoat. And do we grab Guardian of New Benalia or do we grab Anim Pakal? I guess Anim Pakal is probably just too good, right? Alright. We'll jam the Vanguard. Now the Knight-Errant of Eos can trade with Shieldred if Shieldred swings. It's a whole lot of value. Larcenist can take out 2 different creatures. Anim Pakal can trigger twice. Adeline, sure. Come on, Weeks. Show me what you've got. Alright, you're just swinging in. I'm fine with that. I mean, yeah. We'll go to 11, and then we'll go to 9. And then we will eat the Sheoldred. Yeah, you got nothing. Goodbye. Alright, we keep this for sure. It's a pretty good early game. We don't want to give away that we're playing humans yet, so we're going to start with the Adarkar Wastes. Alright, we're going to jam the Secluded Courtyard, name human, play Thalia. Tempted to do Spellbook Vendor next, but at the same time, if we get Coppercoat Vanguard out, well, okay. It's just a win. Yeah, I'll keep this. This looks great. We play 2-drops, they kill the 2-drops, we play Extraction Specialists. We'll go Plaza. I got a plan. What's your plan got to do with me? I got a plan. Ooh, I think we're gonna rock this guy. Submit the Guardian. Play the Guardian. Now we have a blocker. A blocker that we can keep alive if he tries to kill it. We can keep alive by discarding a Vanguard, and then next turn play an Extraction Specialist to bring back the Vanguard. Game over, man. Lifelink, indestructible. Mono red is not getting through this. You are not, my friend. Play the Coppercoat. Indestructible. We're gonna have to do it again. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I'll discard a card to make you use up your play with fire. All day. All day. All day. Pass turn. We're not going to race. We're going to put up a defensive line and sit back. You're not wrong, Wolves. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Brack. I appreciate you. Most of my streams will be a lot earlier moving forward, so keep that in mind. You can check out my schedule if you want. It is completely updated. It will be 100% accurate moving forward. Alright, Specialist is gone. I mean, yeah, we're going to kill Feldon. We're going to do it. We'll discard the Plaza. Since we're running out of Extraction Specialists, I'd rather keep this Vanguard. Alright. No, that's not what I want to do. Next to combat. Enlist. Enlist this boy. Let's do a little bit of scry. And our opponent scoops. This is a little expensive, but we do have the 3 mana. I think I'm going to keep it. It's a bummer we don't have any 2-drops, but we'll make it work. Alright. Fortified Beachhead, decline, pass the turn. Make them think we're playing soldiers or something. Plaza of Heroes, pass the turn. Deep Cavern Bat. Well, we're taking that out. He's probably going to hit the Larcenist. We don't force him to get rid of the bat. If we use the Larcenist.
No.
So no, he wants the Brutal Cathar. Because if he takes the Brutal Cathar... Okay. That's good for us. We need that Larcenist back. We need it back. Thank you. And then what? He kills the Brutal Cathar, gets back the Cavern Bat, takes the Larcenist again. But then we jam Roaming Throne and let's go, baby. All right. Human, Roaming Throne, human. We got a Ward 2 out. We should be okay. We should be okay. Human. Play you. And then we'll do this. Get double triggers off the Knight-Errant, refill our hand. Exile target creature. I mean, it is what it is. Grab 2. Oh, we only get 1. That's okay, though. Now we have more things in play and more things in our hand. I think we're set up to win this. Let's see, what do you want? Chapter 1, you're going to take something out of our hand. Probably the Inga. I think that makes the most sense. Giving all of our creatures vigilance is kinda wild. Alright. We'll go you. And we'll go you. Keep in mind that Ward 1 is actually a Ward 2 because of Roaming Throne. It triggers twice. He might not keep it in mind. Alright, kills the Vanguard. That's fine. Plays a Preacher. We only get to hit 1 with this. But I mean, it's probably worth it. Submit 0, hit it. Commit 0, hit it. Could have gotten rid of 2 creatures with that, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have 2 creatures. Alright, we'll hit for 10. With a little luck, he will kill our 2-drop, and we'll get double triggers off the specialist. Alright, trumpeting Carnosaur. That's fine. Extract the truth. Sure. Hello? I'm streaming. Hi. Alright. This looks fine. We'll keep it. We can lead with Thalia on turn 2. Or Guardian, depending on what color we're up against. If we're up against red or black, Guardian's going to be better. White or blue, Thalia will be better. So we'll go human. We've got red there. So I think we'll actually play the Guardian. Pass turn. Adeline made a final version of the Mutate deck. Very cool. Alright, my turn. We're going to go Beachhead, decline. I mean, we kind of want to slow him down with this, right? But it's probably better to just save this for whatever he plays with this. So I'm just going to swing. And then I'm going to do this. And if he kills the Thalia, we can get it back with the Specialist. $19 rares is a lot, Adeline. Good luck with that. Come on, J-Chimes. Hammer Skull. Sure. There we go. We'll go human. Do we Inga and Esika? I actually don't think we do this turn. I think we need to get rid of this Hammer Skull. And then next to combat, and we'll enlist, and we'll tap the Thalia. Swing in for 4 and get to Scry 2. We definitely want that Roaming Throne. 100%. Roaming Throne's going to turn Guardian of New Benalia into sheer insanity. I can't believe how good this deck is, though. It's undefeated. Undefeated. 0 defeats. Belligerent Yearling, sure. Intrepid Paleontologist. Alright, human. Next to combat, enlist. Submit the Brutal Cathar. Scry 2. Oh my god. Yes. In that order. Thank you. Scry 2 again. And up to 6 power. Do it. Do it, old maid. Alright, we'll get rid of the specialist. End the turn. Alright, we got Dracosaur. That's a little bit problematic. Well, I guess we'll go, this is gonna get wild. Submit the roaming throne. So we're coming in for 13, and he has to block with the Dracosaur. Has to. Wild. Absolutely wild. Hi. Hello. Oh my god. This board state. What's he gonna do? Another Dracosaur? Human. Oh my god. It's absolutely disgusting. 0 Grumpalumps. Alright, we're keeping this. This looks like a great hand. We're gonna lead with Deserted Beach to not give away the fact that we're playing humans yet. Although we're going to have to next turn. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we can do this. And now he thinks we're playing soldiers. Some kind of weird, janky brew of soldiers that uses Guardian of New Benalia. Eh? Destroy. How about no? How about absolutely not? How about that? We'll discard the Spellbook Vendor, because if we draw into one of our ways of getting something back, we can get it back. Sure, that's fine.
Sacrifices must be made.
Human. We're gonna go Jerren this turn. Maybe I should have done Anim Pakal, because it can trigger the roaming throne twice next turn. Maybe I play Thalia first. I don't know. Old Rut Scheme.
We all have things we'd rather.
This is actually a very difficult decision. I think Roaming Throne and Anim Pakal are just too good. I might need to get rid of Thalia. Thalia's pretty damn good too, right? I'm gonna take a chance. Goodbye to you. Alright, Leon is dead. Pass the turn, he has to deal with Anim Pakal. And we've got stuff. We just need mana. That's fine. We get another 1/1. I guess we go white, white, activate, activate, activate. And we'll grab view battlefield. We've got 2/2-drops in the yard. So maybe we grab both extraction specialists. That seems okay. It's gonna take a couple turns, but I think we'll get there. She does Octavian, although not very often. But she knows how to play, and we play once in a while. Let's see. It's doing all sorts of shenanigans, huh? Can't play Thalia yet. I'm just gonna do this. I think we'll get there over time. Even with his ridiculousness of having Virtue of Persistence, I think we'll be okay. Takes his Starving Revenant. I don't think he really realizes what we can do. I mean, we'll take it this once. That's fine. Another Roaming Throne. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to wait to get another Roaming Throne. We're going to play Extraction Specialist. We're going to get 2 triggers. And we're going to get both of these. Next to combat. It's going to trigger twice. We only have the mana to pay once, unfortunately. I think we either want it on the Indestructible guy or on the Lifelink guy. If it's on the Indestructible guy, we can soak up more damage when he comes through with the Trampler. But if it's on the Lifelink guy, we get to crack back for more. Also, if it's on the Lifelink guy, we can block the Thalia with it. I think that's probably the best bet. What is he gonna play at instant speed? What is he thinking of playing at instant speed? I mean, I guess we can try swinging in with this dude. I don't see a reason not to. All right, take out one of his insects. I mean, they might have a combat trick. I don't really know what they're thinking. But I feel like if they do have a combat trick, losing the Knight-Errant of Eos is small price to pay for getting it out of their hand. It's not super valuable to us. I mean, it's nice as another body, but not as nice as everything else. Bitter Triumph. That's unfortunate. We don't have the extra ward on it. If we'd had another roaming thrown out, if I had played that instead, it would have been ward 4. Because the ward would have triggered twice. It's okay then. We got another one. We'll get some boys. Let's see, what does he take this time? You want my roaming throne? Okay. Named Spirit for the Revenant. Interesting. Don't necessarily disagree with you. We need black or green to get this Thalia and the Gitrog monster out. And then he can't swing with something like a Tali. Oh, I should have sacked a 2-drop. Should have sacked 2 2-drops. Wasn't thinking. I mean, I'm just gonna do it. Like, yeah, he gets to get it back with Portal, theoretically. But I mean, it is what it is. If only my 2-drops could die because of my specialist. He's just playing really smart. Alright, we're gonna name human again. No, we have no lands. Alright. Scry 2, Scry 2. Yeah, we need that. Oh, that's not bad, but it's not really gonna dig us out of our hole. Swing in for 10. End the turn. So we can either play Extraction Specialist and Thalia next turn. Or we can play the Thalia. Might be better. We might need that in order to survive. Oh god, he's just going off. We might not have this one, guys.
When I win, you're telling me what you know about the Raven Man.
Ow. I think we might be dead here.
I'm tired of your secrets.
I'll discard Thalia. That's fine. And then Spellbook Vendor dies in combat, and we get them both back with the Specialist. Oh god. Too much value! Maybe we can deck them. Eh? Alright, come on. Bring it in. Nothing? Nothing? How rude. How rude. We don't even have time to play Thalia and the Gitrog anymore. It's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. Well, I guess we'll do something like this. Put one on you. Put one on you. Swing, enlist. Get all the triggers in the entire world. Yes, that is actually what we've been waiting for this whole time. One of those. One of those bad boys. Yes, there's all of our removal. Jeez Louise. It would have been nice if you came earlier. Would have been real nice. Alright, we need the lifelink from Extraction Specialist. It's not gonna matter, but, you know. End the turn. He came to Jerren's. Really surprised he didn't take my Anim Pakal, though. Alright. I think we're dead this turn. Traxa puts us at 1. Extraction Specialist can put us back up at 4. Oh, wait. Revenant and Atraxa actually kills us. It's really sad that he killed us with our own roaming throne. With the Revenant triggers. It's kind of cool, though, right? If you're gonna lose big. Ow. No 2-drops, but we do have our mana for our 3-drops, so we're going to keep this. Human. Human. We actually have 13 2-drops in this deck. It's kind of crazy that we didn't get one in our opening hand. But the hand wasn't bad enough to mulligan away, so I kind of want a blocker. I think Adeline's where we want to be. Cut down. Ah, bummer. It's okay though. Make it work. Human. I guess we just go Extraction Specialist, right? Next turn we can play Coppercoat Vanguard into Knight-Errant of Eos. Unless he kills our Jerren. Which he might. He might. No blocks. Take the 3. We need that Jerren to cast our Knight-Errant. Glissa. Ow. Alright. Coppercoat Vanguard. Knight-Errant. Grab you. grab, I think you. Alright. We're at exactly 13. We could flip this guy. Theoretically. He went to Jerren's. I mean, I think we just let him hit and draw a card. This once. We're gonna Larcenist it away, right? So if we get really lucky and top deck a land, we can play another Vanguard first. Interesting. I don't like Shieldred. If we use up the Larcenist on the Glissa right now, we can't get rid of the Shieldred. I got a plan. You guys ready? And then we can use that to play this. And he scoops! He can't deal with it! Unbelievable! Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there, and if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.